Hey, shalom, brothers and sisters. Good morning. This is Amanda, and I wanted to come on real quick this morning to just share a quick message. I was going to do this last night, but after I recorded the hour-long episode of part 2 of Marriage and Family Yah's Way, I was exhausted. I had had a long day yesterday. It was a good day, but a long day. It was so hot, and went to the park, got some fresh air, and just did things with the family, and I was exhausted. I don't know what it is, but every time I go outdoors and get fresh air, I'm so exhausted when I come home. So I was really tired, and but I did want to share this separate quick message. It's not a bonus episode or anything that has to do with the podcast. This is just similar to the couple of updates that I've done in regards to personal things that are going on. So, a lot of you have reached out and have been asking, what exactly is going on? How can you specifically pray for me or for us? And I have been trying to answer emails and just kind of explain, but then I remember it's really hard for me to type out a long message. I would rather be able to attach an audio file and just explain it verbally versus trying to type it all out. And I just kind of got tired of doing that. I was just like, okay, this is a lot. And you know what? Honestly, I wasn't expecting the amount of people that have reached out, just, praying, but also asking what exactly is going on. How can you pray specifically? People, of course, just wanting to know if they are going to, send a donation, what is it for? And I understand all of that. So I had said that I wasn't going to go into details about what all was going on because I didn't really feel led to. But however, for those that really needed to know, if you reached out via email, that I would be happy to explain. And then that just kind of got hard to do. So again, I'm not good at typing out, a lot, and there's a lot going on. So I was like, okay, instead of typing out these 3 pages of things going on to these poor people, let me just jump on and just share real quick. So there's still some things that I'm not going to share just out of privacy and respect for others. And just, we just don't feel led to share some of these things. But I am going to share certain things that are going on, and just try to be as open as possible. And we appreciate the prayers so much. And, again, this is a really difficult trial that we are currently walking through. And it's definitely a trying of our faith, a testing of our faith. And all we can do is take it one day at a time at this point. So, okay, the trial that currently facing is a financial one. So, Yah is so good, and he is so faithful, and he truly does provide all of our needs, which is why I've come to the realization that this is a test of my faith, and just, really seeing, do I really, really rely on Yah and Yah alone, or am I going to turn to worldly comforts? Am I going to succumb to things that are not a part of his plan, or things that are an abomination to Yah, things like that. And, I've done a lot of growing spiritually over the past, I want to say a good 3 to 4 years, really just the time that the pandemic has hit. And we all know that the COVID pandemic has really just changed the world in so many different ways. A lot of things, it's like it was a reset. And, I know that it was planned, and I'm not going to go into that. That doesn't have anything to do with what I'm saying, but it does affect certain things. But with the path and calling that Yah has called us to, I know that I've been set apart, and that there are a lot of things that have changed because of that. And sometimes, and most of the time, Yahweh will call each of us to sacrifice from time to time, and really just show, are we steadfast in faith? Do we trust him? Or do we trust man? And are we looking to the world to provide things? Now, there are many believers to this day that are like, oh yeah, I love God, yeah, I know he has my back, and and this and that. And I know what the Bible says. I know what scriptures say. I know what the promises are. But I'm still going to do me. I'm still going to take things into my hands, and I'm going to do what I know makes sense to me, and I know that I'm going to be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do this job, even though it's not in God's will for my life, because I have rent to pay, I have a car payment to make, I have kids to raise, we need to eat, this and that and the next thing, right? So many people say that they have faith and they trust in Yahuwah, but yet when it comes down to the necessities of everyday life and even the bigger things, they still take things into their own hands and do whatever it takes to have the comfort of money and a roof over their head and food on the table and stuff like that, which we all need, right? We all need these things. And we know that with the society that we live in order to do that, there needs to be an income, right? The world is driven by money. And, I've never been about money. I've never liked money. But when I became a single parent, I had to work. I had to work a lot. I worked since I was 16. But I was never fulfilled and happy doing it because I always felt, even though I wasn't married at the time, I always felt that my place was in the home, especially after I had my son. I was like, this just doesn't make sense. This doesn't work, even though we need an income. But this just isn't right because now other things are getting neglected. My home's getting neglected. I'm barely spending time with my son. My son is being neglected. I'm missing out on his life, and kids grow up so fast. And even though I always had proved to be a decent worker and, things like that, but I just never felt good about it. I did it because I had to, and when Yah began preparing me for marriage and stuff, that's when he helped me to understand about the roles of a husband and wife. And, the husbands are the ones that their role is to provide for the family. Wives are to provide for the family in terms of in the home, maintaining the home, taking care of the children, and so on and so forth. There's roles that he assigned to each. And I can see why he did that. And my ministry talks a lot about that. So when I came to that understanding, so many things just clicked for me, Again, even though I'm very much capable of going out and getting a job and working, and I did it for years, I knew that wasn't what I was called to do, though, So anyways, the point that I'm trying to get to is that, a lot of us have this tendency, even as believers, that we panic, we get fearful, and then we just do what makes sense to us. We do what's logical. And we're just like, okay, well, I'm going to do this because God's taking too long, or, hey, if I don't do this, I'm not going to be able to pay rent, and, we're going to be out, or we're not going to have any food. But here's the thing. In my personal life, I have always seen Yah provide our needs, even before I was a believer. When I look back at my life, Yah always provided, and he always provided right on time. It may not have been the way that I thought that was logical to me. It may not have been just how I expected it, but he always provided. And as I've grown and grown more in my relationship within the past few years, and then this whole pandemic happening, Yahuwah did something huge in me, and he really opened my eyes to just so much more out of his mercy and grace, and I'm so thankful for that. Sorry, I feel like I want to be if I get emotional at some point, please forgive me. It's just been a really trying time. And yeah, it's been a lot of days of tears, but trusting in Yah. And I see so many brothers and sisters going through these things right now. It's really overwhelming. It really is. Anyways, so basically what's going on for us, again, I'm not going to talk about certain things, just out of respect for others and them not wanting it to be known. But one of the biggest things was, and still is, the COVID vaccine. So we believe that the COVID vaccine is probably harmful rather than beneficial. We don't know what's in it. The fact that whoever made this vaccine did it within a matter of months during the pandemic was just, everything about it was very strange and just didn't make sense, didn't add up. And we knew that, Yah was letting us know not to take it no matter what. And there's a lot of theories out there. There's a lot of, things of what people say about this vaccine. And what broke my heart the most was that so many believers that proclaim faith, that proclaim their love of Yah and going to church and all these things, so many people got these vaccines because their jobs told them if they didn't, they were out of a job. And again, I think I talked about this in an episode, and I don't want to go down this road, but I wish that people would have their eyes open and really see what the government did. And it breaks my heart. I stood firm. I stood firm, and let me tell you something. Before COVID hit, I had just started a job. I was only there a few weeks. I was a teacher. And then COVID hit, shut down everything. And after that, things started happening for my life. Excuse me. And things changed. And I knew that, number one, my place is in the home. And I knew that everything going on in the world right now, I needed to steer clear of and just really be set apart. Yah calls us to be set apart, and we need to be set apart, which means we're going to look odd to some people. We're going to look crazy to some people. We're going to have to make sacrifices. We're going to be outsiders, outcasts, whatever you want to call it. It's what it's going to look like. And, but we stood firm, and we were like, there's no way that we're going to do this. So part of the issue that we have going on is that the one income that was coming in is being compromised because of issue with vaccine. They're now wanting there to be, vaccine, and we're like, no. So that income is probably going to be gone because they are really, really, really fighting for it. They're really fighting for there to be vaccine. And we're like, no, it's not going to happen. So that's part of the problem. The other thing for me, oh boy, even though we were in agreement that, I need to be at home and stuff like that, but I thought, well, if Yah calls me to get a job just to help, if that's his will, if that's his plan, I will do it because I want to be obedient to whatever Yah is calling me to do. And last year, I tried to look for work after 3 years of not working because of COVID. It just so happened that I was in a field that was affected. I don't want to say the most because everybody in every field and everything was affected severely, but to the point that when this vaccine came out, that teaching and healthcare were one of the two major fields that you had to get vaccinated in order to keep working. I have a friend who worked at a church, a Catholic church, and they told her, if you want to keep your job, you have to get vaccinated. And she did. And she's a believer. And she got all of them. And I was just like, oh my goodness, Sorry, taking a drink of coffee. So anyways, for me, again, vaccine. I've never been vaccinated. None of my family has been vaccinated. And praise Yahuwah, none of us have ever been affected with COVID. And if we ever did, it was so mild, it was like a cold. But we all got tested quite a few times, especially when we traveled, and we never had it. We never had it, praise Yah. So the other thing is, even though jobs aren't supposed to discriminate, but I know that jobs are discriminating. I went to several interviews last year. And when you can just tell when somebody looks at you for the first time and they're just you can just kind of tell they're taken aback, I don't dress like other women do. I don't. I'm just very modest, but on top of that, I wear my faith outwardly. And what I mean by that is I wear a head covering only when I go out in public, and if I'm at home and I decide to pray or read the scriptures, I'll cover my head, and that's just due to scripture. And I've talked about that in my testimonies and what it means to be set apart. When I'm home, just with my family and just, hanging out, and, I don't wear it. And my hair is all the way down to my waist. So I know most people would be like, oh, your hair's already your covering, but that's not my understanding of scripture. That's not my conviction. So anyways, I wear a head covering. And then on top of that, I only wear dresses and skirts, which I don't think it should really be all that awkward that you see a woman wear a skirt or a dress. I mean, I know it's not too common anymore, but it is feminine. I mean, I don't see why that would be odd to anybody. But I also wear only linen. So, linen is an incredible fabric, but it's also not always the most attractive or appealing. But that's the idea. I'm not trying to come off as attractive or appealing because I want to be modest. I'm not trying to show my body or my figure. I'm not trying to be sexy. I'm not trying to be, I'm well kept. I take care of myself. But yeah, linen is just, it taught me a lot. Yahuwah definitely taught me a lot about vanity and stuff like that. And he delivered me from all that. I used to wear makeup. I never dressed inappropriately, but I used to wear things that accentuated my body figure, and things like that. So I've come a long way with that, and I won't change it. And so anyways, linen is just, it's an incredible fabric. It's so great for you. It's so healthy, but it's not the most attractive or appealing in a sense. And then on top of that, I wear the tzitzits or the tassels. So I wear, I talked about this in my episodes. They are 4 tassels that you wear at the corners of your garments. So if I'm wearing a skirt and shirt, I'll wear them on my shirt. If I'm wearing a dress, I'll try to pin them somewhere. And they're noticeable. I mean, it's nothing strange, but it's noticeable, and it might be odd to many people who aren't used to seeing that, because from my understanding, only Hebrews do that. And that would be us, You can always tell when someone's Torah observant because they wear the tzitzits. So sadly and unfortunately, I have gone to job interviews, and I can tell that from the first time they look at me, they're just like, I don't know if this would be a good fit. And I know they're not supposed to do that, but unfortunately they are. And especially after the pandemic, that it's just changed everything. It's like reset everything. Listen, I'm not trying to be mean, but everywhere I've gone, whether it's been the grocery store or, a restaurant or wherever, it's just, everything is just so messed up now. It's just, you can tell, like, things are just so different. So anyways, vaccine, the way that I dress, my appearance, I guess. And then the other issue is, my beliefs. So, if I tell a job I can't work Saturdays because it's the Sabbath, there's no work on the Sabbath. And that's I don't like to use the word religion, but it's per my religion. I can't work past a certain time. I have family, a lot of jobs just like, well, if you can't do A, B, and C, sorry, we can't hire you. So that's the other issue, especially if it's like trying to get a job at a church or something, and like they take part in, the holidays and stuff. I don't want to take part in those things, So there's a lot to that. And I know a lot of people would be like, well, if you really need an income so you don't lose a roof over your head and things like that, then just do it. No, I'm going to stand firm on my convictions, and I'm going to be obedient to Yah's word no matter what, even if that means that we do end up losing our place. Because one, I trust in Yah. I know He'll provide. I know He'll make a way, whatever it is that He decides. He's not going to leave us astray. He's not going to leave us abandoned, especially when we're trying to be obedient to the best of our ability to His word and to the plans and will that He has for us, for our family, So, but yeah, so that's the other thing. And then the last thing for me, the issue for me, so I went to college. I went to college for a long time, actually. It took me 6 years. This is kind of embarrassing for me to share, but it is what it is. My initial goal was to earn my associate's degree in early childhood education. So I've always had a passion to work with children. I've always loved children. And I'll never forget when my son was about 5 or 6 years old. He was going to public school, and they were doing these activities, and they were asking for parent volunteers. And I was actually able to find some time to do it, even though I was working full time. And I will never forget the first time I went, how much I absolutely enjoyed it and loved it. I left there just on cloud 9, just so happy. I was like, I love children. I love working with children. I love being with children. It's incredible. Like, I was just so happy. And, I always loved kids. I knew I always wanted to be a mama. I knew I always wanted to have as many babies as possible. And I love kids. Like, I just love kids. And I thought, you know what? Because I was a single parent, and living paycheck to paycheck, I thought, why not try to make this a career? Why not? And again, this was before my understanding of the scriptures and Yah's word and his will for my life, and just, the roles and order and things that he's created, design that he's created. But I thought, why not make a career out of this? So I decided to go to school so I could earn something, so I could be a teacher. And so while I was working full time, raising my son, I was going to school. And can you believe, and it took me a long time. I almost earned that degree, but I got caught up with, I had to take one more elective and a mathematics course. I've never been good at math. Math has been absolutely my worst subject ever. ever has been my worst subject. Like, it is so I'll never forget when I went for an interview at this retail store called Hobby Lobby, and I'd never had to do this before for a cashier position, but he tells me, okay, you're gonna have to do this quick assessment here on the paper, and it was all math problems. And I looked at him and I said, well, I guess you won't be able to hire me because I'm not gonna get this. And at least I think that's what I said. It was quite a few years ago. And he kind of chuckled and he said, well, here you go. Here's a calculator. And I was like, God bless you. Y'all bless you, because I can't do this. And he was like, and you can use your phone too. And I was like, really? Okay, well, I might have a chance then. So I have always been really bad at math. And I think I passed that down to my child. I'm just really bad at math. Anyways, so when I did the placement test for college, I flunked it so bad that they were like, you're going to have to take an additional course and then take the other one. And I know it wasn't right, brothers and sisters, but I got so discouraged at that point. I had been in school for so long. I was so close to earning this degree. And when they told me that, my heart sank, and I got discouraged and I got stressed. And I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm just not going to do it no more. I refused. Plus, I couldn't do any more loans. Like, I had already had so many student loans. I was like, there's no way I can keep doing this, But here's the thing, brothers and sisters. I also didn't pray. Again, remember, I was in a totally different place of my life. Like, I wasn't even really a believer yet. I was just barely starting out. I didn't pray and ask Yah if he wanted me to go to college and work on a career, which clearly I'm not called to be in a career. I'm called to be a wife and a mother, So anyways, I never earned my degree, but I did earn some certificates through my degree because of the courses and credentials that I earned. So the school that I attended is Liberty University. Some of you are probably familiar with it. It's like a major Christian university, accredited university in the state of Virginia. And that's where I went to school. So now, okay, the other reason why we want to move so bad, we're so done with Colorado. Colorado not only has become crazy expensive. I'm like, all that's missing is palm trees. We have become a California. Like, it's crazy. We're congested. We're expensive. It's insane. Like, a 1-bedroom apartment can be anywhere from $900 to $1,600, depending on where you're at. That's just for a 1-bedroom apartment. It's crazy. So anyways, imagine like trying to get a house out here or something, Missouri, for example, is not that expensive like that. I lived out there for almost 5 years. And I know that was quite some time ago, but I can't imagine them being that expensive even today. But anyways, so, I did all this work. I come to find out, I don't know if the pandemic changed this. I don't know if the state of Colorado just decided to do this. Like, I'm done with Colorado. Colorado, it's a beautiful state, but it's become expensive, and they're a very liberal state. It's not a place for people like me that have the beliefs they do, that live the lifestyle that they're called to live. It's just not the place to be. It's not. It's just become so liberal. So anyways, long story short, come to find out, like, my credentials aren't even valid here because I earned them through the state of Virginia. So I did all of that, and none of it counts. None of it counts. It all has to be through Colorado, and it has to be through this thing. So I wasted time, I wasted money, I wasted energy. And I still say it's because I didn't pray about it, but I can't even take what I did earn and apply it. There are some people that have been blessed that maybe they have done schooling through their job, and they've been given they've got it made with that, or they went to school in the same state. And you know what? If I would have known that, brothers and sisters, I wouldn't have done it. I would have never put myself in debt with student loans and try to make this happen, and then I can't even do it. Then the other issue is whatever credentials that I have, a lot of people want professional references, and I'm like, well, I don't have any to give you because one, there was a 4-year pandemic. I didn't work. The second thing is people that I work with are not there anymore. A lot of people had to leave their jobs. A lot of people had to close their businesses. I'm like, I literally have nothing to give you. And they're like, oh, okay, well, without any references, we can't do anything. And it's like, I've asked each and every one of them, what do you do when somebody goes to school? They come out of school with the education and credentials necessary, but they have no prior experience. I said, are you going to turn them away? Are you still going to turn them away? Or like, how is anybody going to get their foot in the door? How is anybody going to have a chance? Like, why did they work so hard to go to school to earn this education? If nobody's going to even give them a chance to start, everybody has to start somewhere. So listen, I'm gonna give my honest opinion, and this is coming from what I personally went through. But if you plan on going to school, number one, pray about it and ask God that's what He wants you to do. Number two, look and see that whatever career field or choice that you're going into, you might want to look into that and see, and you might have to go to a school or hope that you're accepted to a school in the state that you live in or that you plan on working in after, because look at what happened to me. Like, all of that is useless. Like, everything I did is useless. And I went to a really good school, like a really, really good school. And nope, because it's in a different state. Like, I'm like, I don't understand it. But then how is anybody supposed to start out? Like, how does anybody get their foot in the door? It's funny because everywhere I've gone, they're like, oh, nobody wants to work. And I said, that might be true, but I don't think it's just that. I think the problem is that they're making it hard for people to work. And I don't get it. It's like they're being picky in certain areas, but in other areas they're just hiring whoever, and that's why everything is so crazy, insane, and so messed up. I'm just like, it's the field, it's the career field, and it just so happens that the career field that pertain to us is teaching and healthcare. And yeah, we're stuck. So, anyways, those are the issues going on, and because of these issues, we have little to no income, and we are on the verge of losing the roof over our head. So after the month of July, we don't know where we're going to be. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if to take whatever money that we do have and use it to go to Missouri, or do we pay one more month and just hope and pray for the best and see what happens? We have no idea. We have no clue. But again, we're walking steadfast in faith, and we're trusting in Yah to provide. We know that He will not leave us astray. And then again, it could be something that maybe for some reason we have to go through. I don't know. And I've been in this walk for a long time, and I'm really trying to have faith, and I'm trying not to be scared. That's hard. That's hard. It's a huge test, brothers and sisters. It really is. And I know a lot of you, and a lot of our friends, a lot of my friends are going through it right now. They don't even know where they're going to go next. A lot of people have had to leave their homes, their cars. They've had to leave everything. And I know some people looking for the outside, and they're like, well, why would God do that to His people? It's hard to explain. And I don't really have an answer right now. I don't. Because I'm seeking that answer right now. And I guess if He shows me, I'll definitely share it with others who are going through this. But I just ask for continued prayers. And again, that's another reason why I'm taking time away from the podcast, because I need to focus on what's going to happen. Where I'm going to end up, just what's going to happen coming up. So thank you to everybody that has been supportive. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for those that have sent financial help. We really appreciate it. We thank Yah for you. We praise Yah for you, for showing His goodness and faithfulness and love through all of you. We really appreciate it very much. All right, brothers and sisters, I'm going to go now because I'm running out of time and I'm starting to cry. I love you all very much. and I will try to talk to y'all as soon as I can. But if you don't hear from me, just email me and I'll let you know how things are going. All right, shalom, y'all.